welcome back to the Football Lookout. I'm your host today with Saif. Do you want to say hi?
Oh, hey, what's up?
Do you want to say hi? Is that okay? I've got Basil here.
Hey, what's up?
I've got Ibrahim.
What's up, guys?
And for the first time, I've got Zubair here.
Hey, what do you do? This is Zubair. Just want to apologize for not being part of the first two episodes, but I'm happy to be here.
Apology accepted, Zubair. Apology accepted.
Thank you. Just real quick, Imran, since this is my first time, I'm seeing that your name, Sheikh Traplord. Care to explain that?
Oh, of course, bro. Of course. So basically, man's a gangster out here on the streets. Like I was raised on the streets of East London. And obviously because I'm Muslim. I should be on the deen as well. So
Imran, I will come to Howard Road and I'll slap you.
I put the deen and the streets together.
On deen and on
I respect you. I respect you for taking the deen into account.
That's it. Sheikh Traplord. That's where the name comes from.
Out here in the ends, man.
So done with
That's
this
it.
guy.
Anyway, guys, how are you, man? How's everyone been?
Imran, can I find you on Howard Road?
No, because I don't live on fucking Harrow Road, man.
No, but you look close there, so I'll send some guys.
There's like 10 roads down Harrow Road.
Don't expose people's locations, Ibby.
Syria Wines.
That's it. That's my local corner shop.
I'll find you.
You won't, because it's not called Syria Wines anymore. Waste, man. This is why Ibrahim is a waste, man. Doesn't know anything. Just comes here, chat shit, and that's it.
To answer your question, yeah, Imran, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Staying safe, and
good.
hoping this thing breezes through.
I hope so. It's getting annoying, man. There's some good weather outside, and it's stuck inside. Yeah, how is the weather in Atlanta?
Right now it was raining today and it's cloudy, but the past few days, and I think the rest of this week is supposed to be sunny. Yesterday was really nice, actually. So I set up like a badminton net, and we played in the backyard.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we recently got this really old basketball hoop that our neighbors just gave us because they don't want it anymore, but we set it up and we've been playing a little bit back there.
That's cool.
Interesting. Cool. So my roommate has he has like a personal trainer certification, and we have like a grassy area in our apartment complex. So he came up with like a cardio workout, and we try and do that like every once in a while.
How you got a personal trainer living with you, but you look like that?
Damn.
Oh.
I'm just messing with you, baby.
I mean, I agree 100%. But
bro, Imran, your girl just feeds me too well, man. And I feed her.
Again? Don't talk about your mom like that.
It's about to get real dirty, man. It's about to get real dirty. Let's talk.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk.
I shouldn't have gone there. But anyway, going into the world of football, I just want to do a quick roundup of stuff that's been going on. Obviously, the coronavirus is still here. Football is still locked down throughout the world really quickly. So, firstly, Kevin De Bruyne wants the league to end if it affects next season. That's obviously not his true motives. He just doesn't want Liverpool to win the league. Also, ESPN reported that European football, or the football associations, they're wanting to restart in about July, August. We'll see where that goes. Premier League clubs have decided to make a £20 million donation to the NHS, which is really cool. And they're also giving a £125 million donation to the English Football League and the National League. So that's like League 1, League 2 and the Championship and whatnot. FIFA has confirmed that the 2019-2020 season has been extended indefinitely across the globe. They're allowing each country to determine when the campaigns can finish. Oh, Ronaldinho. We talked about him last episode. He's been released from prison after only 32 days. He posted a bail of 1.6 million. So that's good. So El Gaucho is back on the streets.
I think the prisoners were just tired of getting scored on by this man.
To be honest.
Probably.
Well, he's under house arrest, technically. So he's not on the street.
Oh, really?
Is he back in Brazil?
Oh, that's a good question.
I assume so. I assume so.
I'd assume he'd go back to Brazil.
I assume so. Also, Sunderland, they've come out and they've said that they've placed their first team players, the contracted academy players, and all the backroom staff on furlough leave due to the coronavirus pandemic. Now, to our listeners who don't know what furlough means, to be put on furlough means that you're still on the company's books, but you're not getting paid your wage, or you're only getting paid part of your wage. Now, due to the coronavirus pandemic in England, if you're put on furlough, then your company pays 20% of your salary and the government makes up the other 80%. And that kind of, it helps a lot of lower league clubs because they rely on match day revenue. And, tickets and all this other stuff. So because they don't have that right now, it's helping them out a lot. But it shouldn't be done by the Premier League clubs. And one story that came out this week was that Tottenham, Newcastle, and Liverpool put their staff on furlough. Now Newcastle, I can understand their owner is a fucking parasite, Mike Ashley. He's a scumbag of epic proportions. So he wanted sports when the whole country went into lockdown. He wanted Sports Direct, his chain of stores, to still be running open. He called them essential shops. What are they essential for? Buying tennis rackets? Like, fuck off, man, you bold cunt. And then surprisingly, and obviously, Basil, you're a Tottenham fan as well.
Mhm.
Liverpool and Tottenham have put their staff on furlough, which is a lot of Liverpool and Tottenham fans have come out in disgust because they can't believe that their clubs, or who have made a total of £129 million in profit, are putting their staff on furlough. Like, what do you think about that?
No, I'm 100% with the fans as well. It's absolutely disgraceful that, someone as rich as Joe Lewis and Daniel Levy, with record profits, both clubs making the Champions League final last season,
Yeah,
going into this saying that, we're not going to pay our non-playing staff their full salaries.
it's a dickhead move, in my opinion. It's an absolute dickhead.
It really is. It really is. Because those are the staff that, without them, the match days don't exist. You have that brand new huge stadium, and who runs
Yep.
it? It's all those staff. And
Exactly, and
yeah.
and safe, obviously Liverpool as well. I mean, Liverpool have now been pressured to do a whole U-turn on this. So they said they were going to put their staff on furlough, but now they've come out and said they're not going to do it anymore. And it's really come from the pressure from the pundits who are Liverpool fans, the fans themselves, journalists and whatnot. What do you make of it?
I do want to ask a question, Imran, before Safe answers.
Yeah, sure.
So if a club is furloughing their employees, and you did mention that they're responsible for 20% of the wage, and the government will pay the remaining 80%, correct?
Yeah.
What would be the issue if the government is responsible for that 80%? And on top of that, would the receivers be receiving their money back the normal time that they receive their paychecks, or would they start receiving their payback again when everything is back to normal, so to speak?
So to answer your first point, the reason why it's seen as such a bad thing is that it's taxpayers' money that's being used to pay these staff when the billionaire owners have enough in their cash reserves to pay their staff. So a lot of people are saying that all this money that's going to be used to pay these clubs non-playing staff, it can be used to allocate to help people who are have become unemployed due to coronavirus, or to help people in the NHS to buy equipment for them, etc. So it's seen as like a waste of government money. Like, why is the taxpayer paying for the staff to get their wages when you've got billionaire owners who not only have a lot of money themselves, but the club in itself has cash reserves that can easily pay for the staff's wages. So it's just like, it's a waste of taxpayers' money, and it's not right, because that money could be used for something good to help wider society.
It makes it seem as if the club is just hoarding the money then.
Exactly, that they're being greedy with their money.
Hey, Basil, I did actually have a question for you. So you mentioned Daniel Levy, right? And as a Tottenham fan, do you think this could backfire on the club? Because, you just had a brand new stadium. I'm sure the workers, put on their best to present it to the fans. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's definitely bad PR. I think it's definitely negative PR. I think a club that is growing fast over the last few years, you want to maintain a positive image. And so as you are growing as a club, you want to maintain some kind of positive status. We've seen the influence of the club grow with certain big name players. You've seen Son Heung-min, expanding Tottenham fans into South Korea and around Asia, Harry Kane and so on. But when you have a big club making these kinds of moves, it's in the end going to affect the sentiment of the club in England as well as outside of England. So I definitely think it's not a positive thing, and it's definitely something I think that will hurt the club more than the small benefit of the wages that they'll be saving.
Safe, yeah, I wanted to get your input about Liverpool. I mean, they've been pressured to do a whole U-turn in the whole furlough thing. And a lot of people, I don't know, it's been strange. They've been praising them for doing a U-turn, but I'm like, no, they were going to do this dickhead movement in the first place. And now they've just been shamed into doing a U-turn. They shouldn't be getting any praise for this. What are your thoughts?
Liverpool? I don't know
Yeah,
her.
Liverpool.
No, honestly, I was like, when I woke up in the morning and I checked Twitter and I just saw Jamie Carragher ranting about it. And as he rightfully should, I'm glad he did. And I was just like, read the reports. I was like, is this real? As a club, Liverpool like to portray themselves. And we talk about stuff such as the spirit of Shankly and whatever, who was a Scottish
socialist.
socialist. Yes, thank you. And so we talk about a lot of they want the club to be like a family. Like Klopp's come in and he has talked about having a good connection with the fans and being like a family. And so when I read the news, I thought that was like, that's not the way that the club is trying to project itself. It's kind of like a step back. So I'm glad they went back, but like you said, how much of it was because of public pressure? You know what I mean?
All of
Because
it.
they got
All
all
of
of
it.
it. Yeah, they got rightfully so. They got criticized for it by like everyone, as they should, because like you mentioned earlier, that money should be more used towards the lower league clubs who struggle to really rely on match day revenue, not billionaire owners who own these huge clubs. And like Basel said, we made the Champions League final last season. There should be no excuse for it. So I'm glad they went back, but I don't think you deserve a lot of praise for it. I think it's just like, okay, you realized your mistake, you corrected it, let's move on.
And I'm glad. Hopefully, Tottenham and Newcastle will do the same because I feel like you guys have enough money to pay your staff anyway.
Definitely.
Guys, I want to rant a little bit.
Yeah, feel free to.
I've got something on my mind that's just that's
It's
annoying
fine,
me.
go
and
for
it's-
it, bro. I'll tell you when to shut up.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind. Fucking idiot. Yeah, it's about the Premier League players being asked to take a wage cut. And I'm not ranting at the players. I'm actually ranting about the people outside of football, and I mean the politicians. Matt Hancock is the health secretary in the UK, and there's another politician. His name is David Lammy. He's the member of Parliament for Tottenham. I think Tottenham or somewhere in North London. But they both came out and they both said that Premier League players should take the 30% wage cut. They don't understand why they're delaying it. And especially David Lammy criticised them quite a bit. And it pisses me off because footballers are already, they've always been targeted for earning too much, as if that's their problem when it's not. And they've always been criticized despite all the other kind of charitable things that they do. Even before the coronavirus epidemic, they used to do a lot of charitable things. The clubs used to do a lot of charitable things, but it never used to be recognized. They always used to be looked at as like these overpaid guys who just kick a football around, and there's no way that they should be paid this much, or how is he worth 100 million? Why is he getting 150k a week? It was all just a bit of nonsense because you're effectively blaming them for something that's not their fault. It's not their fault. There's a lot of popularity in football. It's not their fault. Like Sky and BT are willing to pay billions of pounds to the Premier League, who are then spreading it across the Premier League, and then therefore the Premier League clubs have a lot of money to pay their players. That's not their fault. And then for these politicians to come out and criticize them without thinking more deeply into it is just annoying, because it's not as simple as, yeah, let's just take a 30% wage cut. It's if they take that 30% cut, if all the Premier League players take that 30% cut, then that means that there's less salary to be taxed on. And I think it was Henry Winter of the Times and a couple of other journalists, they reported that if there is less salary, that means the NHS and the government loses about £200 million in tax. So the players are mindful of this. So it's not just easy as saying, yeah, let's just drop our wages 30%. That means that the government and therefore the NHS has less money to spend. And also, who does this 30% actually benefit? There's no clarity. The PFA have come out and they've said that there's the players are hesitant because they don't know who the wage cut actually benefits. Does it benefit the owners who already have enough money? That will this wage cut be used to help pay non-playing staff? There's no clarity in it. So there's a lot of issues that these footballers have to look through, and they have to think very carefully about this. And a lot of them are young guys as well, so they need a bit of guidance. So for all these politicians and these journalists and naysayers to come out and to criticize them, it just pisses me off. I'm just like, you guys are such fucking idiots. You're not thinking these through. These footballers are trying to make the right decision, and they're rightly so taking their time so they can have a guarantee that their wage cut or their wage deferral is helping society, but then you're out here just criticizing and putting pressure on them simply because, and let's be honest, they're an easy target, and it's just wrong. It's just completely wrong. Yeah, that's my rant, guys. Sorry, I know I went in
Imran,
a bit.
I think
Yeah,
very well, good point made. I think it's just that politicians, they'll come out without really having any type of statistics a lot of times and without a plan in action saying that what these wage cuts are going to go into. So, they don't want to call out the higher levels in society, the people who make a lot of money. Why? Because those people are probably the ones paying that politician's paycheck. So who are the next people they're going to look at? They're going to look at football players, right? Because
that's true.
the football players are the next people in down that chain who are earning that type of money. So yeah, unless you come and bring a plan of action and mention as to why and how you're planning to do this pay cut and what you're going to use that pay cut for, there's no need.
Yeah, I
And
hear you.
I was thinking the same thing when you mentioned that 30 million, or I'm sorry, the 30% pay cut.
Yeah,
Where's that money actually going?
exactly. There's no transparency. There's no clarity. Does it, like, are the clubs, are the owners actually using this wage cut so they can help they help pay for non-playing staff, or does it just go? Do they just save money? Do the owners just save money? So there needs to be a bit of clarity. Basil, I know you had some thoughts on this as well.
Yeah, I think you bring up good points in that basically every owner would be able to decide what to do with that extra money that they otherwise would have paid the players. And so there's no guarantee that they would necessarily pay the non-playing staff with those wages, I guess those repaid wages. And so yeah, it definitely begs a question as to why can't they just keep their salaries and then pay their proportion in taxes to the NHS to continue funding the fight against COVID-19.
Exactly.
And then on the other side of it, I think, I could potentially be wrong, but I think one reason why the Barcelona squad eventually agreed to a 70% wage cut, not even 30%, 70%, was
Wow.
because I think the board guaranteed that they would continue paying all non-playing staff their full salaries. I think I'd have to double check that, but I think that was part of what was agreed.
I think I read that as well, Basil. I think you're right about that.
Hmm.
I think that's why they took the 70%,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah. I think when that's sort of laid out directly, each club negotiating with their squad, I think it could potentially result in the consequences that benefits all parties involved. However, just doing a blanket, league wide, we're going to cut all your salaries this percentage, and then not necessarily know where that money's going to go, like you said, is perhaps not the best way to go about it.
Yeah, I mean, there just needs to be some clarity. I mean, footballers they're not greedy oligarchs, they're not these like conniving people that want to keep all their money for themselves. I mean, a lot of them have like hearts. They care about people. I mean, like the example of Marcus
Sane.
Rashford.
Sane comes to
Sonny.
mind.
Like, what are you talking about, Eddie?
No, I'm talking about, like, you're saying players with good hearts and that kind of thing. Someone like Sane, for example, how he's from Senegal, gives back to his country. Because
Do you mean Mane?
sorry, Mane. I don't know why I'm saying Sane, but I'm thinking
Yeah, I got
Mane.
confused. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Someone like Mane who gives back to his country a lot, And then you think about Ozil, he's paid for lots of operations for children and things like that. So
And a lot of these players do have like charity organizations that they're either hosting or they're donating to. Yeah. Imran, you mentioned the point where players aren't, like, the good stuff that the players are doing aren't brought up in the media, and that's just how the media normally works.
agreed.
One point I did want to mention was that we're mentioning furloughing and we're mentioning wage cuts. It just seems that owners are looking ways where they could save money instead of thinking about how they could instead take a pay cut of their own and help all the staff under them, right? Instead of having, because the players are their employees as well, right? Instead of giving employees wage cuts, they need to think about how they could make an effect themselves instead of taking help from their employees or the government.
Yeah, agreed. Let me give an example, Zubair. So, roughly in the Premier League clubs, I know they employ about 900 people. I think that's just for like match days. I think, but on average, I know Arsenal have about 1,000 employees. Most other clubs have about 900. If each of those 900 people earn about £25,000 annually, I mean, a lot earn less, some earn more. But let's just, for argument's sake, that they all earn about 25 grand. That comes out to about 22 million. Now, a club like Liverpool, who posted profits of 49 million, I think it was for the year, they have double the amount of money to pay for their staff for the whole year. So yeah, you're right. These owners need to look at see what kind of cuts, what kind of sacrifices they can make to help their staff.
Yeah, I think it's not to get too political, but it's sort of interesting how the rich owners are given the benefit of the doubt. How can they save money? But when someone who isn't well off can't pay their bills or receives like a big decrease in their wages for whatever reason, they're expected to just make it, or they're held
just make ends meet, innit?
responsible if they didn't plan for such an event.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys heard, but did you guys hear that Serie A clubs, they unanimously agreed to cut their wages by a third? So they're only receiving 2/3 of their wages in Serie A.
Yeah, I heard about that yesterday.
Yeah, so again, I don't know where that money is going to, who it benefits, but the clubs unanimously agreed to do that. So hopefully it goes somewhere. Okay, guys, so I think we covered a lot of great topics here. I'm sorry if my rant annoyed you, but I just had to get off my, being in quarantine, I've been cooped up, needed to vent, and so yeah. But we hope you enjoy this episode. We hope that you enjoy listening to us. Please do follow us on our social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram, and let us know what you'd like us to talk about as well, and we'll incorporate into our episodes. But for today, that's been another episode of the Football Lookout. We hope to see you again. Stay safe, and we'll see you shortly.
Thanks for having me. Listen.
Take care.
Peace out.